Welcome to Unit 2, Lesson 2, Funding the Future. Okay, before we get started, let's talk about a couple of things we should remember from Algebra 1, which will help us on the practice problems. So, combining like terms. Like terms have the same variable with the same exponent. So, many people try to add x and x squared or x cubed. You can't do it because they don't have the same exponent. And then there's some steps. So, what I like to do is highlight x. This x term is by itself, so it's unique. The xy and the sign in front of the term goes with the term. So that's plus 5xy minus 6xy. The 3x squared is alone, is negative 3x squared. And the 6 is by itself. So the only thing that can be combined are the two red terms. And that's why in the next line, we see these two terms right next to each other, and they combined them and got that in the third line. So be careful when combining like terms. You cannot add a letter to a number. The sign in front of the term goes with the term, and they must have the same letters to the same power. If they don't, they are not like terms. Okay, let's talk about the word evaluate. Evaluate is a math term that means get down to a single number. So when you have a polynomial, you have to substitute a number in, and we saw this in the last practice problem set, in parentheses, and do all the operations and get it down to one single number. All right, here's a calculator. Here's some buttons on the calculator. I just typed in Google TI-84, found this on the computer, and you can do everything that you can do in class. Now, when you pick up a calculator, the first thing you want to do is clear it. So the first thing you do, let me put this pin on, sorry, one. Second button, why did I write the word second? Type the word second. The second button is this blue button right there. Step 2. We're going to hit plus. Third thing we're going to do is we're going to hit 7. Type these buttons on the computer. Fourth thing, type 1. Fifth thing, type 2. And as you can see, the 2 is in red, which means that was the last button that was hit. Type these buttons, it will say RAM cleared. You'll get this message on the TI-84. Calculate 84, it won't say anything. It'll just clear the RAM. So we clear the RAM, all the settings are back to normal. Our Y equals button, once we hit Y equals, you'll see it the button outlined in red. You'll get this screen where you can put your functions in. And here's the X button right here. It's right next to the green button. And when you hit second first, so 1, hit second button. Then 2, hit the graph button. This will bring you to the table of values. And this is where you can see on the left our X column. This is our inputs. And our Y column, whatever we put in Y1, that will give you the values. Okay, now, funding the future. What do you notice? What do you wonder? So, if you remember back in the ways, these blocks are hundreds from elementary school. These blocks are tens, and these blocks are ones. This is expanded form. Expanded by place value. So all the rest of these are by place value. This is kind of sort of scientific notation, but it's 4 different ways to represent the same number. Okay, 2.2, polynomials and integers. Consider the function, evaluate the function. So this is what I would do. I would type y equals, then I will put this function into the calculator. 5 xt theta n into y1. So once you hit the y equals in y1, you'll hit this. Your calculator will be cleared because you cleared it. Caret button is over the division symbol. You hit 3. You have to hit the right arrows. So be sure you familiar yourself with the right arrow buttons. Hit the right arrows to bring the cursor back down. If you don't bring the cursor back down, everything else is going to be as an exponent. And then I will hit the x squared button. The x squared button is left of the 7 or the 4. And then plus 4 xt theta n. Once you get it in, now what you do is you hit second graph. And this will bring up the table of values like I showed you before. You scroll up and down. So you use the up arrows on the right hand side to go up to when x is -5. Read the number. Then use the down arrows to scroll when x is 15. And you read the value on y. And those are your answers. And if you did it correctly, you should see your answers will be -495 and positive 18,285. I'm not going to worry about problem 2 right now. We will come back to this. This requires us to do some other things with the calculator. We're just not ready for it yet. I'm going to come back to this when we do finding intersections. Okay, now for the next one. At the end of the 8th grade, Claire's aunt started investing money and this and this and this. All right, so after 1 year, the total value is 300x. After 2 years, it's 300x times x, which is 300x squared. Write an expression for the total value after graduation in terms of x. So if it takes 4 years to graduate, the initial amount was 300, and then x acted over 4 years. So 4 becomes our exponent. And so we read the next sentence. If Claire's aunt had invested another 500 at the end of her freshman year, what would be the expression for the total value of graduation? So the 500 had 3 years to act. So we get 300 x to the 4th plus 500 x cubed. And then the same thing for the next one. Suppose that 250 was invested at the end of her sophomore year, which means she had 2 years to act on the 250. 400 at the end of the junior year, which was 1 year. And so this one becomes 300 x to the 4th plus 500 x cubed plus sophomore year. 250 x squared plus 400x. Okay, now this one is a little different. Now watch this. If Claire receives, so 1580 is an output. So what you're going to do is 300 x to the 4th plus 500 x cubed plus 250 x squared plus 400 x. Set that equal to 1580 and solve it from there. This one is going to be a little tricky. We're going to come back to this later. I'm not going to do this right now. Okay, this is our lesson summary. So from the lesson summary, we highlighted a polynomial. So highlight this whole first sentence. So that you get the definition of a polynomial. And that concludes lesson 2.